Hello Lightworker Ninjas, one Michael here. So the other day I was walking at South Point and I saw this guy meditating at the top of the hill, and I had a nudge that I had to go talk to him. So today we have the beautiful soul Tommy with us of The Conversationalist on YouTube, and I'm going to talk to him about his soul's journey, his process of stepping into the truth of who he is, stripping away all of that which no longer serves him, and how he's living this blissful, abundant life. So check it out.
My mother was like my best friend. She had me when she was 16, and then she went on, obviously got married, and she did the right thing and did the suburban cul-de-sac life and all those things. But me and her had a connection from a long time ago, so she was kind of like my best friend. So at 20 years old, as a junior in college, she like suddenly developed stage 4 cancer, which I'm saying suddenly, but you know, this happens over a period of time. Developed stage 4 cancer, and sat down with us and actually told us that it was not malignant, that it was kind of benign, which I think that she was just saying it for protection, but obviously we were a lot smarter than she gave us credit for. And not 4 months later, I just kind of felt something was never going to be the same again in my life. And the morning around like 6 a.m. of her passing, I just kind of felt something got, you know, kind of ripped away from me at that point. And so I just kind of became subconsciously, consciously walking through the world, because I was kind of lost, a little depressed, just kind of letting the world shift me and move me to where I felt like it needed to go. So I developed a huge ego out of the world allowing me to do certain things and to go certain places and to achieve certain goals, which I thought were amazing, which they still are, but doesn't really serve a higher purpose. I think it was an overall mind, body, soul type situation. I think that we don't realize how much our thoughts are controlling things that are going on in our lives. And I honestly didn't think of myself as a great person. I just kind of felt like I was just doing whatever people wanted me to do at that point. Like if I got a job working for a magazine, I was going to be that guy that was going to be working for the magazine. Or if I was, you know, living on South Beach, I was going to be that guy living on South Beach. It was like I was kind of molding myself to fit into what other people thought I was. So I wasn't serving a higher purpose, meaning that it wasn't beneficial for anyone around me. It wasn't me showing who I was as a person and who I actually am and how I fit into the mold of this universe and, you know, what major role that I have. And that was to inspire. A lot of the inspiration that I was getting, I felt was coming from within, but it was really coming from outside sources. I was looking for other people to come in and kind of save me, to kind of show me where to go. Because again, that connection was lost with my mom. So at that point, I was just kind of being pulled. And you lose your sense of who you are when you are no longer thinking for yourself. So when I say that it's no longer serving a higher purpose, my purpose is to inspire, and I'm supposed to, you know, be joy, be love, be compassion, be strength, be power, be all those things that, you know, you're born to be. And I was basically just a shell of a person. I think there were a lot of things that happened throughout my life that kind of tell you that you probably should be going to left when you're going right, because I always want to go right. I always want to go right. But I know now that my life is a complete left circle, and I'm controlling that circle. So after the military, I decided, okay, well, I'll, you know, finish college, I'll get my degree, and then what I'll do is I'll go work in the healthcare system, because I don't want to be a doctor anymore after I went through all that stuff. I'm more of an outside person. I like these sort of things in my life. So I'll go, you know, do something more. So I went to public health route. So I was a counselor associate at a rehab clinic for kids that were my age, that were coming in and they were being treated for addictions that were insane. And I'm looking at them and I'm connecting with them and I'm talking to them, I'm helping these people. But at the same time, I still feel a little bit empty, because you keep seeing these people come back over and over and over again, because they're not really making the changes, they're just kind of getting through the program. So I sat down at my desk one night and I wrote down all the things that I love, because I started to get into more spiritual. I started to think about more things that I love. I guess I was more opening up at this point in my life, because I was becoming a little more mature, and I knew that the direction that I was going in was not something that I wanted. I wanted something a little more artsy, a little more, you know, outside, a little more creative, a little more fun, you know. So what I did was write down all the things that I love, and I wrote down music, art, fashion, culture, lifestyle, humanity, all these things that, you know, lead you to be a better person, and ultimately it makes you happy. So I was like, okay, well, what can I do now? So I was like, I'll apply to fashion school in Miami, because I had came to Miami on a spring break trip with a random guy that I met through the military, and it was just like, all right, this is a great place. I've never been here before. This seems like it's fun. It just kind of stayed in the back of my mind. So when I was applying, I saw there was a fashion institute here. I just kind of applied and got accepted. And honestly, that's where the journey kind of began. A kid trying to make it from Mississippi, you know, living in Florida, going to fashion school, to living a lifestyle on South Beach that's like amazing, absolutely extravagant. Beautiful things every day, every night. It's what I was creating at that point in my life at 24, and like, you had a great job, had good friends, you know, the things that you think that you should be having at 24 living on South Beach. Again, being molded into a person that is not really much substance at the end of the day.
But it worked for you at that point.
It worked, you know, it was the universe still telling you, you're moving toward where you're going, but this is not your stop. Here, this is a little bit of fun on the way, but you know, let's really start to dig deep. Let's really keep going. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun lifestyle. It's great. I'm actually not complaining about anything in my life. It's just, I know that there was a greater purpose for me than just going out every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then, you know, having a great job and having great friends and going to brunch on Sunday. It was more than that. It had to be. It has to be something more than that. I believe in how the world works, and I believe that everything is connected and every human has some sort of connected pattern. So I feel like if you meet someone once, they'll play a vital role in who you are or what's going to happen or what needs to happen next. I met Ali Moon working PR when I was in Miami doing that whole 4.5-year thing, and Ali Moon had moved to New York. So when I met her, it was like kind of like a reunion type situation, but two completely different people, but still like on the same wavelength. And it was just honestly very random. And then she was like, well, I'm doing this thing for Fashion Week, and I wanted to know if you would be able to do it. And it just kind of just so happened where I was able to do it. I kind of like finessed my way into doing it, not going to work, but I went because I was like, this has got to be a great opportunity for me. And afterward, I got a call from Nancy Schuster, and she was like, oh, I have this, you know, job, but would you be interested in it? And I was like, sure. I mean, anything working for Nancy Schuster is gonna be great. So it was like a job working for Essence Magazine for Time Inc. And that just created a whole new level of life for me. It was like, okay, well, I was a kid in Mississippi thinking about working for a magazine. It was actually GQ, but I mean, I'll take Essence. It'll get me where I need to go. Everything adds to something, right? I get there, and it's like, it's amazing on the outside. And at this point, I'm a little bit, way more mature. I've been through a little bit of things. I've lost really good friends in my life for stupid reasons because of ego. And, you know, we've kind of parted ways, and you feel like you're alone at that point a little bit. And in New York, it has a heavy feeling of aloneness, even if you're surrounded by a lot of people. So all these things are happening all at once simultaneously, but I'm still, you know, trudging along for it, you know, keeping a smile, kind of faking it, to be honest with you. You know, I'm showing up every morning, everybody's like, oh my God, this guy's like working for, you know, Essence Magazine. He must be like amazing. Obviously I am, because that's what God created, but at the same time, not using my talents for what it was actually meant for. So going to these four walls every morning, it was amazingly torturous, if that makes any sense. Because it was amazing because I got to do everything that I thought that I wanted to do, like as far as ego is concerned. But spiritually, I was not getting fed. Like, I was literally being worked like a dog every single day, which is fine because like that's what you sign up for when you work in that industry, and you know what you're gonna get. But I had to come to a point, and I was in the closet, which is what they call it. I had what is it, Andrea Sachs moment, and I was like, yeah, this is not for me. I can't do this anymore. Like, these clothes are beautiful, these people are great, but my life has to be more than this. Like, I can't even really think about the last time I actually had a real conversation with anyone and really connected with someone on a level where it's not just about what you can do for me or what I can do for you. And I just made a decision. I actually texted my sister, and I was like, I think that I need to change what's happening in my life. And I was like, could you just like pray for me? She's like, I've been praying for you. So at that point, I decided that if God got me through that week, that I was flying out Tuesday morning. And that was gonna be the end of it, because why put yourself through more drama, more stress, more heartache, more starvation, more uncertainty, more worrying than you have to? and trying to live a life that is not even yours anyway. Because you can be replaced in 5 seconds. They let you know that every day. This journey that I'm on is a journey of inspiration. It's through every single thing that I touch, and I'm consciously creating it on a level that I've never known before. You still go through trials, you still go through tribulations, but you know as a person that you're stronger, that you're built for more, that God has you and the universe is working for you if you let it. I'm not used to being quiet and being humble, so I knew that there was a force bigger than me at work, so I just stopped. I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but I think ultimately it's a part of who you are. You have to accept yourself as a whole person. There's a part of me that loves that, to be honest with you. It loves the drama, that loves the energy, that loves, that PR lifestyle, the marketing, there's the ambitious side of me. But there's also a part that's soul, there's also a part that's spirit, there's also a part that's love, there's also a part that's compassion. And for me, I had to accept that that's me as a whole. It's not just I can do this and then not think about this, or I do this and not think about that. I had to come to a point where it was like, this is all of me, this is who I am. I'm a little bit crazy, I'm a little bit fun, I'm a little bit studious, I'm an introvert, but I'm also an extrovert. I like being, in the water, I like being on the sand. It's all those things rolled into one that make you who you are as a person. I think accepting that moves you to a level of consciousness that it's only bliss. What sets this journey apart and makes it different is I have no idea what's next. I'm so used to controlling everything and saying like this is going to happen, this is going to make it work. I'm putting those pieces on the board. Honestly, my board is completely clear at this point, and I'm just kind of being consciously present and being focused and knowing that this is going to happen and then letting it happen and taking my hands off of it. Because I think once you release and detach from it, knowing that it's going to happen anyway, you have no more fear, which is what we call worry. The daily things that I do, I add things every single day because I think you should as a person, because we're multifaceted as a human race. I read constantly. I think that's the best way to connect to the ancestors, to know people's story, to apply it to you, because I feel like if you're reading something at a certain time in your life, you're supposed to be reading it and you should be able to apply it. I meditate daily. I make sure that's a part of who I am as a person now. Like before, you begin to be a little self-conscious about things, but self-consciously in a negative way. But I think that self-conscious is a positive thing because you have to be conscious of yourself. And I think that going out and meditating shows the world, this is me giving devotion back to what has been given to me. And this is the love that I'm giving to you guys, because ultimately that's what it is you giving love back to the world that's giving it to you. So I meditate daily to make sure the world, hey, I love you, and I know that you love me because I'm still here and I'm still moving forward.
So that's what it feels like to you when you are sitting up on that hill at South Point.
Absolutely.
And you're allowing the gift of yourself to be given freely.
Exactly. Today when I read the poem, and I actually read it a few nights ago, it means goodbye to all of that. And that meaning all of that people say that you are, all of that you think that you should be, all those jobs that you hold that you hate, all those people that you communicate with that you really have no more interest in communicating with, but you do it just for, public appearance. Goodbye to all of that means something completely different now. It's just accepting who I am as a person and receiving all the positive and good and loving things that are coming into my life. So goodbye to all of that and hello to the world, to be honest with you.
Thank you, Tommy, for sharing your story. If any of you want to be interviewed or share your story with me, send me an email at m@onemichael.com. Thank you so much for all of your beautiful work, Lightworkers. See you soon. Namaste.